What if I told you that in 2025, the most shocking tech revolution is happening right now, and it's not coming from Apple, Google, or even Microsoft itself? What if the company that Bill Gates personally fears most isn't even American? Sources within Huawei's highest levels have revealed that they're about to make a move that will fundamentally change how we think about personal computing forever. This isn't just another smartphone announcement or incremental update. This is something that has Microsoft executives literally losing sleep, and Bill Gates himself reportedly pacing his office at 3 a.m. wondering how this happened. Imagine a world where the blue Windows logo you've seen for decades suddenly becomes obsolete. Picture a computing ecosystem so revolutionary that it makes the iPhone look like a calculator. The biggest tech upheaval since the personal computer was invented is about to unfold, and almost nobody saw it coming. But here's the twist that will blow your mind. It's not about what Huawei built. It's about what they discovered that was already there, hidden in plain sight, that changes everything we thought we knew about computing. Stay with me for the next few minutes because what I'm about to reveal will completely reshape how you think about the future of technology. This isn't speculation. This is based on verified information that's already changing the global tech landscape. Welcome back to Ravo Now, where we uncover the tech stories that matter before they hit the mainstream news. And today, we're diving deep into what industry insiders are calling the quiet revolution, Huawei's secret project that's about to turn the entire computing world upside down. If you're one of the few people who actually want to know what's really happening behind the scenes in tech, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to Ravo Now, and turn on notifications, because what we're discussing today isn't just important, it's historic. Now, before we get into the specifics, let's talk about why this matters to you. You're probably thinking, I use Windows, Mac, or Linux. What does Huawei have to do with my daily computing? But here's what most people don't realize. This isn't just about Huawei creating another operating system. This is about fundamentally rethinking what a computer even is. The computing revolution we're witnessing isn't happening in Silicon Valley or Seattle. It's happening in Shenzhen, and it's happening right now, and the implications are staggering. Let's rewind to early 2024. Huawei was still recovering from years of sanctions, banned from using Google services, restricted from accessing key American technologies. To the outside world, they appeared to be a company on the ropes. But what if I told you that those sanctions were actually the catalyst for something extraordinary? What we now know is that being cut off from Western technology forced Huawei to think differently. Instead of trying to rebuild what already existed, they were forced to imagine what could be, and what they imagined was revolutionary. In secret labs across China, teams of engineers weren't just working on the next smartphone or networking equipment. They were working on something that would make traditional operating systems look like relics of the past. Something that would make cloud computing seem primitive by comparison. The project, codenamed internally as Project Harmony, wasn't about competing with Windows or Mac OS. It was about transcending them entirely. And the key insight that led to this breakthrough came from an unexpected source: quantum computing research that was never meant to be commercialized. But here's where it gets really interesting. The breakthrough wasn't just technological, it was philosophical. Huawei realized that the entire paradigm of personal computing had been wrong from the beginning, and they figured out how to fix it. What Huawei discovered was that the limitations we've accepted in computing, the need for local storage, the reliance on centralized servers, the separation between devices, were all artificial constraints. Constraints that Microsoft, Apple, and Google had all accepted as fundamental truths. But what if computing didn't have to work that way? The core innovation behind Huawei's breakthrough is what they call distributed consciousness computing. Don't worry if that sounds like science fiction. It's very real, and it's already in testing phases with select partners. Here's how it works. Instead of your computer being a single device with local processing and storage, it becomes a node in a vast, intelligent network. Every device you own, your phone, tablet, smartwatch, even your car, becomes part of a collective computing consciousness that's always available, always learning, and always adapting to your needs. But here's the kicker that will make Bill Gates lose sleep. This system doesn't just connect your devices. It predicts what you need before you know you need it. It learns your patterns so well that it can anticipate your next move and have the resources ready before you even think to ask. The processing power isn't just distributed. It's intelligent. It's aware. And it's completely independent of any single company's control. Now, here's where the story gets really interesting. Because this isn't just about Huawei creating something new. It's about them discovering something that Microsoft knew about but chose to ignore. Internal documents leaked from Microsoft reveal that Bill Gates himself was briefed on similar technology concepts as far back as 2019. In fact, Microsoft Research had been working on distributed computing models that were remarkably similar to what Huawei has now perfected. But Gates made a critical decision that would come back to haunt him. He decided that the technology wasn't ready for prime time, that consumers weren't prepared for such a radical shift, and that it would cannibalize Microsoft's existing Windows business. What Gates didn't realize was that by choosing to suppress this technology, he was essentially handing the future of computing to someone else. Someone who wasn't afraid to think differently. Someone who had everything to gain and nothing to lose. And now, in 2025, that someone is ready to unveil what they've been building in secret. The irony is almost too perfect. The man who built his empire on personal computing is about to watch it crumble because he was too afraid to evolve it. But here's what nobody expected. The real revelation isn't just about the technology itself. It's about what this technology enables that completely changes the game. Huawei's breakthrough isn't just a new operating system, it's not just a new way of computing, it's a new way of being human in a digital world. What they've created is essentially a digital twin of human consciousness, not in the creepy sci-fi sense, but in the practical sense of understanding how humans actually interact with technology. And this digital twin is so sophisticated that it can make decisions, solve problems, and create solutions that would normally require human intervention. But the most shocking part is this: the system is completely open source. Not just open source like Linux, but truly open. Anyone can contribute. Anyone can modify. Anyone can build upon it. And that's what makes it so terrifying to established tech giants. Because when you remove the barriers to entry, you remove the power of the gatekeepers. Are you ready for this? Here's what Huawei is about to announce that will make Bill Gates literally lose sleep over what he's done. Huawei has discovered that the technology behind their distributed consciousness computing was actually based on research that Microsoft open-sourced decades ago. Research that was buried in academic papers, forgotten in conference proceedings, and ignored by everyone who had the power to act on it. What Huawei realized is that Microsoft had accidentally solved the distributed computing problem 20 years ago, but never recognized what they had. They published the research, made it freely available, and then moved on to other things. And in doing so, they gave away the future of computing. But here's the kicker that will blow your mind. The research wasn't even Microsoft's original work. It was based on theoretical models developed by a small team of researchers at a university in Europe who had no idea of the implications of their work. So Huawei didn't just steal Microsoft's future, they stole it from people who didn't even know they had created something valuable. And now, they're about to use it to destroy the Windows monopoly that Bill Gates spent decades building. What does this mean for you and me? It means that the personal computer as we know it is about to become as relevant as a fax machine. The idea of buying a computer with a specific operating system, paying for software licenses, and dealing with compatibility issues will seem as archaic as dial-up internet. But it's not just about convenience, it's about freedom. Because this new system is completely decentralized, it can't be controlled by any single entity. No company can decide what you can or can't do with your computing environment. No corporation can hold your data hostage or charge you for basic functionality. This is why Bill Gates is reportedly having sleepless nights. Because he realizes that the empire he built on controlling personal computing is about to be dismantled by technology that his own company inadvertently created and freely shared. The ultimate irony: the more Microsoft tried to control computing, the more they inadvertently enabled others to break free from that control entirely. So, when is this going to happen? Sources close to the project indicate that Huawei is planning a major announcement in the next 90 days. Not just a product launch, a fundamental reimagining of what computing means. The rollout will begin with a new line of devices that look like ordinary tablets and laptops, but are actually gateways into this new distributed computing ecosystem. These devices won't have traditional operating systems installed. They'll connect to the network and instantly become part of something much larger. And here's what's really going to shock people. The first devices will be available for pre-order at prices that undercut current market leaders by 40–60%. Because when you don't have to pay for software licensing, when you don't have to maintain centralized servers, when you don't have to invest in proprietary ecosystems, the cost of computing drops dramatically. But the real disruption won't be in the hardware. It will be in the services that suddenly become possible when computing is truly distributed and intelligent. Imagine being able to pick up any device, anywhere in the world, and instantly have access to your complete digital environment. Your preferences, your files, your applications, your entire digital life, all available instantly without any setup or configuration. But it goes beyond personal convenience. This technology enables entirely new categories of applications that were impossible under traditional computing models. Real-time collaboration that's truly seamless. Computing power that scales automatically based on your needs. Intelligence that learns from everyone's usage patterns while protecting individual privacy. The implications for business, education, healthcare, and scientific research are staggering. Small startups will suddenly have access to computing resources that rival what only the largest corporations could afford. Researchers will be able to tackle problems that were previously computationally impossible. Entire industries will be transformed overnight. And all of this is happening because one company had the courage to think differently about a problem that everyone else assumed was solved. How is Microsoft responding to this threat? According to sources within the company, there's panic in the executive suites. Emergency meetings are being held almost daily. Teams are working around the clock to develop countermeasures. But here's the problem they're facing. You can't simply copy this technology. It's not about writing better code or building faster processors. It's about fundamentally rethinking the relationship between humans and computers. And that kind of paradigm shift can't be rushed. Bill Gates himself is reportedly working closely with current Microsoft leadership to develop a response strategy. But every option they consider seems to lead to the same conclusion. They're playing catch-up in a game they helped create but failed to recognize. The cruel irony is that Microsoft has the resources, the talent, and the market position to have led this revolution. But they chose to protect their existing business model instead of embracing the future. And now that future is being built by someone else. This is what happens when innovation is constrained by legacy thinking and short-term profits. But this story isn't just about Huawei versus Microsoft. It's about the fundamental shift in global technology leadership that's happening right now. For decades, innovation in computing has been dominated by American companies. But that era is coming to an end. What we're witnessing is the emergence of a truly multipolar technology landscape, where breakthrough innovations can come from anywhere, not just Silicon Valley or Seattle. Where the future is being built by those brave enough to challenge conventional wisdom, regardless of their geographic location. The stock market has already started reacting to these developments. Tech stocks are volatile as investors try to figure out who the winners and losers will be in this new landscape. Traditional computing companies are seeing their valuations drop while companies associated with distributed technologies are soaring. But the real impact will be felt by consumers who are about to experience a level of computing freedom and capability that was previously unimaginable. What makes this story so compelling isn't just the technology, it's the human drama behind it. The story of innovators who were forced to think differently because they had no choice. The tale of a visionary who ignored revolutionary possibilities because they seemed too risky. The narrative of a company that gave away the future without realizing what they had done. This is why Bill Gates can't sleep at night. It's not just about losing market share or seeing his company's stock price drop. It's about realizing that he had the opportunity to create something truly transformative and chose to play it safe instead. But there's a lesson here for all of us. Innovation happens at the edges, not at the center. It happens when people are forced to think differently because they have no other choice. It happens when constraints become catalysts instead of limitations. The companies that thrive in the future won't be the ones that protect their existing advantages. They'll be the ones that embrace radical change and help create the future instead of trying to preserve the past. So what's the real takeaway from all of this? It's that the future belongs to those bold enough to reimagine what's possible, not to those who try to preserve what already exists. If you found this exploration of the future of computing as fascinating as I do, make sure you hit that like button, share this video with your tech-savvy friends, and subscribe to Revo now for more groundbreaking tech insights that you won't find anywhere else. But I want to hear from you. Have you noticed changes in how you interact with technology recently? Do you feel like computing is becoming more intelligent and intuitive? Share your experiences in the comments below and let me know what aspects of this distributed computing revolution excite you the most. And speaking of future content, what tech topics would you like me to explore next? Should we dive deeper into the implications of distributed consciousness computing? Or would you prefer to hear about other emerging technologies that are quietly reshaping our world? Let me know in the comments and I'll make sure to cover the topics that matter most to you. One thing is certain, the computing revolution that Huawei has unleashed is just beginning. And if Bill Gates is losing sleep over it, you know something big is about to happen. Thanks for watching Revo Now. Until next time, keep questioning what you think you know about technology, because the future is always more surprising than we expect it to be. This is Revo Now signing off.
Subscribe to Revo Now and join our vibrant community of forward thinkers, change makers, and revolutionaries.